So this is how to do my Divisi Staves method. I've done it to violins and violas and cellos, and we're going to add the basses using the same method. So the first thing to do is add section players, and you want 2 contrabass players, 2 staves, and I make one and then duplicate it. And then importantly, we don't care about what the staff name is. We don't use that. We use the player name. So you right click, rename player, make it contrabass, and the best thing to do is copy this and then paste it into the second one so you know it's exactly the same, because it has to be the same to work. And then you group these together, call them bass or whatever, and then you need to make sure they're assigned to the flow, but they still won't show up, because the main important thing about this is in layout options, in vertical spacing, you go to staff visibility, and the trick is that we're hiding empty staves always. So every empty stave is always hidden. Now these are empty, but they're showing because we're excluding the top stave of our system. So if we see here, I'll just put all these together for the moment so it looks a bit better. So now contrabass, the first stave of the contrabass is showing. And then to get rid of this one, we need to make sure that it is using, in Staves and Systems, player names instead of the staff names. So do remember we duplicated those names into each other. So now when we put a note in and move it down a stave, we have 2 contrabass staves, and we can make this look better actually by getting rid of this, putting a whole thing here, making sure they're bracketed together, and then bracketing the whole thing, and that's it. So this all essentially, the staff visibility is saying hide this stave, this second stave, whenever it's empty. So as soon as there's music in it, it doesn't hide, and this works for all of these staves here. And the violas are bracketed correctly, and move this note all the way down and it works. So in galley view, you see we have the 2 bass staves. I have 4 violin staves and so on. The final important thing to do now is to do the same thing in the parts. So let's just set up a part. Let's call this contrabass. When we go through to the part, we need to make sure the same visibility things are working. So again, let's add both staves to the part, and then we want to always hide the top one, always exclude the top one from hiding. So that way, if something goes to the second stave, the top stave always shows, and so on. And that's it. That's how you do the Divisi staves. You can do these for guide staves, and you can also do these for horns or whatever as well, if you're not trying to do condensing. But the other thing, if the naming isn't working, collapsing properly, just check in engrave mode in staff labels. You just want to check that your section layouts are being grouped between staves, not labeled. If I label each staff, you see it kind of breaks it. The only way this works is if they're being grouped together, and we're tricking Dorico into thinking that they're the same name by using the player name, which will collapse in on themselves. And the reason we group them is just so that any other numbering, like violins, if we have violin 1 and 2, they can stay independent, and the instrument types of violin don't kind of collide with other ones. So just keep them in groups, and it doesn't break it if you add or remove other instruments. So yeah, that's how to do my Divisi Stave method.